Your body actually protects itself from things like injuries, infections, and illnesses with inflammation. But it can also cause some serious health problems. Joining us now to talk about this is Dr. Darshan Shah of Next Health. Nice to have you here, doctor.
It's great to be here again.
So inflammation, I always thought was a bad thing, but apparently the body uses it as a mechanism. Tell me about that mechanism.
So inflammation can be a good thing. In fact, it is a good thing that's in our biology to help protect us from illnesses and infections and injuries. So you know when you fall and you say you take some skin off your shoulder, right? It gets all red and hot. That's inflammation actually happening to help heal that area. But what happens is if you have chronic damage going on inside of your body, that inflammation is always activated. And when your inflammation is always activated, that heat and that pain on the inside of your body, it damages normal cells. And then we start getting into problems.
Okay, so let's just, I just want to understand the biology of that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to become a student now, Dr. Shah.
Let's do it.
Because it seems to me that people take anti-inflammatories and things like that to kind of cure inflation or inflammation.
Yeah.
Inflation's a whole other thing. Inflammation. But so how is that good for us and bad for us at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. So I have nothing for inflation, but for inflammation, I can tell you that the anti-inflammatories you take do help with localized inflammation in like joint areas.
Okay.
But they do not help with systemic inflammation. So systemic inflammation is when your immune system is overactivated, destroying normal cells because of certain things that you're putting in your body or certain conditions that are going on that you're putting yourself in. So for example, lack of sleep can cause inflammation. Eating foods that are high in carbohydrates and high in sugars. Sugars, actually, the amount of sugar we have in our diet causes a ton of inflammation. So these are the kind of things that you want to avoid, generally good lifestyle habits to decrease the amount of inflammation in your body. Because inflammation is a word that every person out there should know because it leads to every other disease.
Why do those foods cause inflammation? I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, so your body and your gut specifically doesn't like high carbohydrate foods, it doesn't like high sugar foods. In fact, when you eat these types of food, it actually can break down your gut barrier. And then what ends up happening is you get more toxins absorbed inside your bloodstream through your gut that should not be there.
So then does the blood react to cure that and it
Yes.
inflames and creates what, blockages
Exactly.
or what?
So then this is like your natural cycle that happens and your immune system reacts. It's like this stuff is not supposed to be in here and it stays in this chronic system of activation. It's called chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is what leads to destruction of normal cells in our body, in our brains, in our liver, in our kidneys. And it's kind of like an army gone out of control. An army that's constantly fighting something is just shooting up everything now because it doesn't know what to even aim for anymore. You see, that's what's going on with the army of our immune system.
All right, so what is good anti-inflammatory health? What should I do?
Exactly. Okay, so the best things that you can do to combat inflammation is number one, exercise a good amount for your biology. So for most people, that's about 30 minutes a day. Believe it or not, over-exercise can cause more inflammation.
Yeah, right. I've heard that.
Too much sugar in our diets really limit the amount of sugar that you have in your diet. Prebiotics will help to feed the gut bacteria, which help protect you from toxins being entered into your bloodstream. Getting enough sleep, 7-8 hours of sleep a night can also decrease inflammation. There's a whole list of topics, but in general, good lifestyle habits that you've heard can decrease the amount of inflammation.
I eat a lot of broccoli. That's a good
anti-inflammatory. That is a good anti-inflammatory.
I don't like taking the pills, and I think people kind of are starting to get the message that pills aren't necessarily good for you, even though they're designed to do those things, but that there are natural ways, right?
There are natural ways, and you should definitely use the natural ways first before you go to pills. Because, you know, the thing when you're taking pills is now you've kind of got to the end of the problem, and you're not really treating the cause of the problem, right? You're just masking the symptoms of the problem. You got to treat the causes to decrease inflammation overall.
All right, so inflammation is something we should be concerned about.
Yes.
Get some sleep. I love that. Those are easy things.
Yeah.
Those are not, the hardest thing, though, is the carbs, because I love spaghetti and pizza.
You don't have to totally take it out of your diet, but, you know, reduce, not every day.
Dr. Darshan Shah of Next Health, thanks so much for being with us. Great advice. We appreciate it.
Thank you.